Roy, why don't you explain to everyone what a rumbler and a tumbler is?
Essentially, a rumbler is somebody who is climbing up in the rankings. So it could be somebody who was maybe an outside threat to All American that were becoming more and more confident that they'll be an All American, or someone who was not in the national champ conversation who's now in the national champ conversation. A tumbler is essentially the opposite. If you used to be an All American, not a favorite, I don't know if favorite is the right word.
Candidate, maybe?
An All American likely. Yeah, a likely All American. Now it's feeling like unlikely. Or if you were in the national champion conversation and now it's feeling like you're now no longer in the national champion conversation. That is essentially what a rumbler and a tumbler is.
All right, awesome. You're up first. Oh, well, not quite. We got our accountability check-in. So Roy and I like to do an accountability check-in here, talk about previous week's rumblers and tumblers and how they're doing, or whether they're continuing on their trend line or moving in different directions. So rider block, continues to be very, very strong. He got a pin this weekend. I mean, he's just looking great. Really think that Ryder Black is really solidifying himself as a real strong, likely All-American type candidate. Nate Desmond does what he's asked to do, right? And goes up a couple weight classes and begs the difference. If he can beat Luke Lillidahl, he can probably beat Nagao, right?
I'm sure that was like the conversation in the Penn State coach's office.
I'm just saying.
Like, we've seen Lillidahl and Nagao go at practice.
Yeah. What do we do here? So I don't know. But yeah, in my opinion, right, like if the kid wants to wrestle and he's willing to wrestle off, like there's a lot of different spots where he could probably fit into that lineup and make it strong. Okay, Landon Robidoux got ducked. Chance to really rumble his way into like a high AA finalist, and Ty Waters took the day off. It happens. I don't again, like I don't like to attribute too much to it, especially this time of year where you're coming up on break and that kind of thing, and guys who've been around the block a bunch of times, skipping one weight cut. It could be a lot of things, but I don't think Ty Waters is fearful. Tumblers, Jet Strickenberger fell to Spratley, so we didn't get to empty any clips and any of that.
Yeah, they were both. That was like Tumbler versus Tumbler, by the way.
Yes, I did see that. So
somebody had to win.
What do we make of that? Swiderski, he won.
Yeah, he won against an unranked opponent. Gave a pretty bizarre interview afterwards. Was evidently not happy with his own, I don't know, performance or role on the team or something. It just seemed like he had a lot on his mind.
It doesn't seem so happy with his lot in life, maybe too strong a word, but how things are going in Oklahoma, giving a little bit of that Gilman vibe. I don't know. I always enjoyed him. I enjoyed him when he was like winning matches he shouldn't have won, or no one thought he was going to win, way back in high school, and who's number one and stuff like that. And he just came out and was beating guys, and he was always fun and charging ahead and aggressive, I mean, interesting. And Schwaber, did he
got a win?
Did he win?
Yeah, he got a major decision
against Oklahoma. I thought he lost Oklahoma. Yeah. Okay. That was a little confusing. They were both red. Not really. They weren't both wearing red, but
yeah, he beat Carter Schmidt.
Okay.
Who's unranked?
Okay, so still there. All right. Yeah, I'd pulled Jet off the Tumblers list, but maybe. Well, we'll see. BBD.
No, if you're on the list, you're on the list.
Okay, you're on it. Okay, Roy. Who are your rumblers this week?
Joey Novak from Wyoming beat Mirasola. It was a convincing win. It was a little close in the end, and he went and got a whole nother takedown that he didn't necessarily need to get, but just showed that he was the one that still had the energy and the fire to go out and get it. And in a duel that wasn't that close. So good for Joey Novak. Sometimes, with when Penn State comes, and because they haven't wrestled a lot of their guys are ranked maybe a little low. And Mirasola was actually somebody that there were question marks about. So good for Joey Novak. And I put Ryder Block, even though you already have him on the Rumbler list, but I added him to my Rumbler list.
Nice.
He just looks really good, looks really healthy. And I don't want everyone to think that I'm like always an Iowa hater.
Right.
I can recognize when somebody is stepping up and doing great.
Yeah, I think Novak, that was kind of important, right? I mean, like he Cliff Keen didn't quite go the way he wanted it to, right? Ended up getting worked pretty good, but so it was nice. I mean, people always talk about tiers, right? And it definitely there was like this question, and like Ben was arguing about Connor Mirasola was ranked too low, and like this was like 9 versus 8 or something, and he lost. So I guess that came out in the wash pretty quick. So it did kind of make you wonder about Mirasola, but I guess he's not Not the projected starter, but like you say, man, it's been months now and we haven't seen Barr. So at this point, you got to scratch your head about Barr or Crookham or Stanish or any of these guys that we haven't quite seen yet. It's not academically related. All right, cool. My Rumblers are a bunch of old guys. So 9th year seniors Carson Karchla and Isaac Trumbull. Karch's been out there getting it done. I for sure. But it was just nice to see him take out, maybe a questionable number 2, but still a number 2 in Singleton. And he seems to be pretty healthy, even when he's on the mat the last few years, it sort of looked like he's labouring, working against injuries or something his style is being determined by the fact that this knee doesn't work or this shoulder doesn't work or whatever it might be. But he's looked healthy, and he's got all the talent, and that's a big piece for them. I mean, if he's a high AA, then that'd be really important for Ohio State. And Isaac Trumbull came into the season not wrestling, injured. I thought that oh boy, here we go, and then he showed up, and then he won, and then he took out number 1, I guess, or whatever. Took out Feldman, who's certainly the top 3 ranked guys right now. Feldman's beat Ferrari. So huge, big, fun win for that guy. So welcome back. And I feel pretty good about Isaac Trumbull if he can stay in one piece, being really competitive for the All-American. Those are my guys.
Well, of course. I mean, he was 4, and he just beat number 2.
Right.
So he's got to be ranked number 2 now. I mean, Bastida, I think, is a clear 1 at this point.
Right.
He's the only great heavyweight who hasn't lost.
Yeah, and he doesn't lose that ranking without losing because he's crushing dudes.
Right.
So Bastida's there, but
that was last year too. He beat Hendrickson, and he went into
2 years
NCAA's
ago,
undefeated, or 2 years ago. I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So even if he looking like a Hodge guy, that's not a guarantee that he's gonna do it in March.
Broke his finger. All right. Yeah. All right. Now we got to talk about our tumblers. Unfortunately, so Matty Singleton. Came in with a really high ranking and lost to a really great wrestler. We just talked about it. It's really tough to have the guy who won on the Rumble list and the guy who lost on the Tumbler list because, I mean, they're both really good wrestlers. But, I mean, this is about confidence in AAs and things like that. And so I just felt like my confidence went way up for Carson and went down for Singleton. Again, you get with these guys who've been competing for a long time, you don't know what you're going to get, and then the other one's the Mirasola brothers. This was I turned on the duel late. I mean, I won't say that wasn't by design because there was only 2 matches that I was interested in watching. The others, how Penn State wrestlers fare against unranked or guys in the 20s and 30s is I already have a pretty good idea what's going to happen there. So, there was no questions to be answered in the first 8 matches of that duel. It was the last 2 matches where we were going to get some questions answered, and they didn't show up. Novak's great. It's a good wrestler, but you're Penn State starter. You're not really supposed to get majored. And so, Connor got worked pretty good, and looks like he got a little bit of an injury there. I'm not sure what happened, but props to him for finishing the match. Looked like he had a ankle sprain or something that happened when he got took a pretty bad shot and just got rolled, mowed over. And then you could tell he was making expressions and talking. I didn't know what he was saying. It was kind of weird. He kept talking hey ref, I'm hurt. It was just sort of strange because the ref didn't care either. I was like, what do we got going on here? I mean, you got the 3 if he wants injury time. So I guess
you talking to yourself or are you talking to me?
That was a weird deal. But he didn't whirly bird, Maybe if he would have whirly bird, the ref would have been okay, because it was because he kept talking. It was just I didn't know what to read of it. And then Cole's probably not a full size heavyweight, and again he wasn't wrestling nobody. But so anyway, they're on my Tumbler list. I guess again that's all about All-American confidence. And I mean, there's so many good heavyweights this year that, from what I've seen from Cole Mirasola, he's not at that AA level.
Yeah.
Zoom links in the chat, guys. You got to take. You're mad at me, let me know. Feel free to jump right in. All right, so those are my tumblers. Roy, who you got?
All right. I got Patty Gallagher. For me personally, part of the Tumbler thing is the Tumbler accountability. So now I'm like committed to following how he does the rest of the year. But I've known about Patty Gallagher for a while. He was, I think, the #1 big board guy out of St. Ed's a while ago,
like a Christian Carroll.
Right. And somehow, and he's shown signs of good. But so this season is kind of a fun fact. He's lost 2 matches in overtime on stalling call, and one of those times he was the one pushing the guy out of bounds.
Yeah, that was lame.
That is lame. But there is something to like some guys find ways to win matches and some guys find ways to lose matches. And I think that he's got the talent there. And then when Ohio State was ranked #1, I was like, that's going to lift everybody up on the team. I don't know yet. I didn't see the level jump I was expecting, so he's on my Tumbler list.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he seemed to have a rough time finding a weight class, or he was like, they were inserting him in places he didn't belong the first couple of years, and like, you go from like the #1 prospect, and he's kind of getting like pieced up a little bit, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? And then like last year, it seemed like he had made like significant gains, right? It's like, oh, this guy, this is an AA level guy. And then like this year, there's been times where you're like, okay. But there are those guys. And when you get a rep for stalling in overtime, that can be kind of tough, If the refs start buying into it, then we got a little bit of trouble for sure. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that's fair. I wouldn't have done that to Patty, but not my list.